El siguiente programa es una presentación de Soy Departamento 15. Las opiniones, servicios y productos aquí mencionados no son aprobados ni promovidos por Tribuna TV.
Agradecerles de antemano, ¿verdad?, el esfuerzo que hacen por llegar a una reunión como esta. Gracias a Dios, pues hemos coronado el quinto foro que va a ser hoy, que es hoy. La realidad de las cosas es que espero pues que haya sido de aprendizaje todos estos foros, ¿verdad? Nosotros como salvadoreños especialmente, hubieron objetivos especiales porque hicimos este foro, Departamento 15. Y era porque como salvadoreños, a pesar de que somos el número más grande de habitantes aquí en el Nassau County, no tenemos ninguna persona que nos represente a nivel políticamente hablando, ¿verdad?, en la alcaldía, en las escuelas, en todas partes. Entonces, el señor aquí Emilio Ruiz dijo, bueno, hay que hacer algo. Y a consecuencia de que los hispanos, los salvadoreños, aquí en la vía de gente, el 60% de los comerciantes son salvadoreños, ¿verdad? Y no tener ninguna representante en la vía es triste para nosotros. No alcanzamos ni siquiera las migajas, ¿verdad?, porque esa es la realidad. Y entonces, cuando una comunidad es fuerte, tiene que estar políticamente practicándolo, estar enfrente de todo para poder ser oído y visto. Entonces, esa fue la inquietud que tuvo don Emilio para realizar este foro. Empezamos pues ya hace varios días. Para mí, así, para nosotros creo, fue una experiencia grande. Y el objetivo primordial era empoderar, ¿verdad?, educar a nuestra gente para que empujen esa rama, ¿no?, estar representando a los salvadoreños en todo aspecto. Una de las cosas que nosotros siempre hemos andado peleando es para poder hacer un festival salvadoreño, un desfile centroamericano, que este año pues ya es el tercer año que no se da ninguna de las dos, ¿verdad? Fue por la pandemia y luego que por la cantidad exorbitante que la vía puso a esos comités para poder realizar una actividad que es para el pueblo y es completamente gratis, ¿verdad? Entonces consideramos que no se podía hacer, ¿verdad?, porque son eventos públicos, como les digo, de entrada no se cobra ni $1, entonces hay que rebuscarse para sacar un patrocinio, y no se pudo dar, y toda la gente quejándose, queremos esto, queremos aquí, pero no nos escucha nadie. ¿Por qué no nos escucha? ¿Por qué no somos escuchados? Porque no tenemos a nadie allá adentro, no tenemos quien nos meta una patadita por ahí para adentro, pero aquí estamos. Entonces ese fue el objetivo, y tratar la manera de que nuestra gente se despierte y que trate la manera de ver lo importante que es salir a votar, y más importante es participar, porque así no lo engañan. Y todos los acuerdos, las leyes que se aprueben y todo, si nosotros no participamos, no reclamemos, ¿verdad? Es una de las cosas que nosotros siempre vemos, ¿verdad? Así es que no sé si podremos haber encontrado una persona idónea para que pueda participar. En marzo son las elecciones aquí en la villa, y ahí va a haber posición de alcalde y posición de ¿cómo se llama?, de trustee. Pero lo más triste no solo es que es importante y no tenemos representación, ¿verdad? Aún en las escuelas, en donde todos los hijos de los salvadoreños que viven aquí en la villa van a las escuelas, en el board no hay representantes, no hay personas que se interesen de cómo la escuela está manejando los fondos millonarios que le llegan, y si a los hijos reciben ese beneficio que están en obligación de darles, ¿verdad? Entonces todos esos motivos dieron lugar a que se desarrollara estos foros. Y bueno, yo creo que han venido muchas personas, pero considero yo de que vamos a encontrar una persona que diga, yo voy a dar la cara por ustedes. Y una de las cosas que yo le dije a Emilio de la primera vez es que si nosotros empujamos a alguien, que no lo dejemos solo. ¿Por qué? Porque si nosotros lo estamos empujando, políticamente hablando, tenemos que estar con él desde el principio hasta el final, gane o no gane. Pero el propósito de nosotros es estar a la par de él, que vea que tiene personas que lo van a apoyar. Y ese apoyo, ya eso hablamos desde el principio, ¿verdad? Queremos hacer esfuerzos, ¿verdad? Para que las personas que no han venido este día y que han participado en todos los foros estén pendientes, ¿verdad? Que vean en YouTube este programa, también el programa de la Tribuna Hispana TV, lo van a estar pasando, para hacer el llamado, pues que se acerquen más, aunque ahorita, como es el último foro, a partir de este momento pasamos a una segunda etapa nosotros. Ya tuvimos 4 foros anteriormente, en donde las personas venían, se presentaban, daban su currículum, ¿verdad? Y ahí se estudiaba. Hay un comité que va a calificar a las personas, o no a calificar, sino que va a designar, ¿verdad?, si están aptas para poder participar. Uno de los consejos que nosotros siempre hemos dado desde el principio es que si yo no soy conocida, por mucho estudio que yo tenga, no voy a correr para alcalde, porque es un fracaso rotundo. Uno tiene que ser carismático, popular, le caiga mal o no le caiga mal a aquella colonia, tiene que estar con ellos, para ganarse el populismo de las personas. Que sea metido en todas las actividades, les dije yo al principio, y que la cara la recuerden, tal vez el nombre no va a acordar, pero a este ya lo he visto. Y de eso se trata la política, estar ahí siempre presente, ¿verdad? Entonces hay un comité, como les decía, el señor Hall, pues él fue alcalde por 2 periodos, 3 periodos creo, y 2 periodos como trustee. Entonces la recomendación que nosotros siempre queremos hacer es esta: para tener la experiencia tan necesaria para llegar al puesto de la alcaldía y ser alcalde, comencemos desde abajo. Nosotros tenemos un programa, y se lo voy a hacer una comparación, que decimos, empecemos por ser cafetero y después director de la compañía. Lo mismo es en la política, ¿verdad? Así es que esperamos pues que esta noche pues empecemos a trabajar en seleccionar a esa persona que nos va a representar y que cuente con nosotros con el apoyo. Para nosotros ha sido una experiencia grande, porque es primera vez que se desarrolla un foro para empoderar a un salvadoreño, más que todo, ¿verdad? En todo caso, nosotros también dijimos en una de las pláticas que si en caso no se encontrara un salvadoreño, pues un centroamericano lo vamos a apoyar igual, porque nos va a representar, y estamos seguros que cuando toquemos esa puerta en la alcaldía nos van a oír por esa persona que va a alzar la voz por nosotros. Así es que le voy a pasar a don Emilio para que les explique, vea, un poco más, y que le traslade al mayor las cositas, las palabras que yo dije. Muchas gracias.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Mayor. Y Ana María, gracias. Ana o Eva. Eva. Y gracias a Maribel y a todos, y a Miriam, gracias por haber volado con Luis, que andaban por allá, lejos, dice Luis. Gracias a todos. Nubia, ella cubrió básicamente lo más importante de este proyecto. Nubia covered mostly everything. What is this movement about? We in the beginning says that we would love to have a Salvadorian rep for this community, because 60% of the businesses in this village are Salvadorians, and of course then Dominican, Mexicans, Haitians, and of course, you know, so on and so on. But in reality, what we would love to have is somebody who loves the Hispanic community and the community as a whole, regardless where this rep comes from. We do have the example on Maribel, that she comes from the Cactus land, and she did a really good job in the Board of Education. So, and we hope that that's going to happen again on the 3 different positions that we're looking for. The trustee position, the member for the Board of Education, and of course for the mayor on 2024. It's not easy, and especially for Salvadorians. We did talk about that the first meeting. We say that the Salvadorian community has 2 enemies. One is that we only come over here for 2 years. In 1980, we came with that dream. We want to be in America for only 2 years. We save some money and we want to come back to El Salvador, put a small business, have a truck, raise a family, and that was it. And the other big enemy that we still have is that this little country, El Salvador, we cannot hit it. We changed from one ruler to another ruler, and now we do have another ruler. It's very disappointing. Therefore, politics for us, we never were interested on this. But since the 2 years have passed, the original 2 years, and we remain here 42 years ago, and we remain here, so we must do something. We must change the way to see life. And that's why, the Salvadorian community is very, not relentless, not that they refuse to, but we're not so, put it this way, we're not so thrilled about it. Politics. However, we understood that, and we want to continue working on that, hammer every day, telling, listen, this is the right way to do it. You want changes? You be part of the change. You gotta be involved. And Maribel always told us, and that's why, when we see that tape and we recorded last time, she says then, even though sometimes we don't get credit, right, Maribel? But the things are done, and when those things are done, thanks God they're done for in pro of the community. So I don't want to extend too much on this conversation because our guest is Mr. Hall, our ex-mayor. We feel and always felt that he's part of our community. He's a very decent man. He's Democrat, and when he was a mayor, and for many of us, we remember the relationship that he held very dear with the community in all levels and all ethnicity. He never saw us like special ones, but nevertheless less important. So, and I always thank him for that. And now he's showing one more time, then he wanna help us to empower the community. And I definitely gonna thank him. And again, like Francisco says when he first met him today, I'm so sorry for the loss of your dog. That's why last week he didn't make it. And really, we really know who own a dog and pass away the dog. We know that feeling. It's a great loss. So thank you, Mayor, for being here. And today we're going to be talking about what it takes to run a campaign to become a trustee in a village or city like ours. And that's why the mayor of that, he really has a lot of experience. And like Anubia says, we're still looking for the right candidate. And I guess we have her in front of us today. I don't know, Eva Maria, Ana Maria, Eva Maria, Eva. Okay, but so we're going to talk about that. Now, we're still receiving resumes from the people who might think about it. We don't have that many resumes, and the person who gonna see those resumes and interview these candidates are about 5. Out of those 5, gonna meet with the candidates. And let me tell you this much, and with this I'm gonna finish. It is possible. In the beginning, we mentioned that we would love to have a Salvadorian, Central American, anybody, any Latino, any Latin from Spain, Caribbean, Haitian, Mexican. We would love to have it. But if we don't find that kind of ethnicity, we want to even support anybody who wants to work and empower our community. That can be Asian, can be Afro-American. In the end, we don't really care, as long as they or he or she compromise himself or herself to work with us. That's the most important thing, because like Anubia says, we feel like nowadays the Salvadorian community, specifically the Latino, let me tell you, when you go to those days, and you talk to the deli, the owner of the restaurants, the laundromat, they say, we're not welcome on the village hall. The mayor never take us, not even a meeting and all that. So all what they get is tickets, all kind of tickets get, and this place, for instance, is not the exception. So that's why, not that when we have a Spanish or somebody who likes the Hispanic community, we're not going to get tickets. That's not the point. The point is this. For instance, okay, you give a ticket to the community, at least make a seminar. Tell them, listen, this is the reason how you get the tickets. So this is the education that we need to do. But there is not that interest. So I would like to also introduce every one of you before I pass the microphone to Mr. Mayor, and this way the Mayor knows, pretty much he knows that everybody have been on the previous meetings. We do have about 3, 4, let me see, 2. In reality, 2 new members of this audience. Therefore, I would like to begin with the first one. Bienvenida.
Good evening, buenas noches. My name is Eva María Ture. I'm Maribel's daughter. Soy su hija. Los últimos 3 años estaba trabajando como maestra en el Bronx. Ahorita me tomé un paso atrás como sustituta para completar mi maestría en educación, para estar certificada y regresar a lo que es mi barrio, a educar los hijos de acá, porque yo comencé en Uniondale, en Lawrence Road, y la verdad en mis primeras semanas, y también en Westbury, me tocó las clases que son los niños recién llegados. Y tú les ves así como unos con una hambre para aprender y otros con así como una tristeza porque anhelan su hogar, su familia, sus costumbres, entonces así como de que ellos sintieran tanta aprecio y confianza conmigo, realmente me ha sido ese propósito de ser. Entonces a eso voy. I was just telling them that I was a teacher, that I took a step back as a sub so I can finish my master's to be certified.
Buenas noches, yo soy Maribel y estoy muy contenta de aquí y quiero que sepan que quien sea que sea el candidato, yo estoy dispuesta a ayudar y participar con Emilio para tener representación.
Mi nombre es Héctor Cermeño, esto me cuesta un poco a veces decirlo, periodista de profesión, pero en Estados Unidos hacemos lo que sea. O sea, exactamente.
Bienvenido a la costumbre.
Entonces hacemos lo que se trata, pero sí, comunicador de profesión, pero acá hacemos de lo que sea, y en este momento estoy acá porque el proyecto de Emilio me parece interesantísimo. ¿Por qué? Porque aquí tienen los salvadoreños más de 50 años, desde que yo tengo conocimiento, y hasta ahora está surgiendo un movimiento o una iniciativa para darle poder, o como se dice ahora, empoderar a la comunidad nuestra, que ya debería estar a otro nivel. Y por eso que estoy acá, esta parece que es mi tercera o cuarta, ¿no? Recuerdo bien. Y si hay otra, creo que voy a estar presente porque aquí puedo aprender bastante. Y esto que aprenda acá lo puedo llevar a la comunidad en Brooklyn o de Nueva Jersey, donde hay muchos salvadoreños y donde también yo me relaciono mucho. O sea, esto se puede replicar porque es una excelente iniciativa.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Miguel Umaña. Tengo 38 años de vivir aquí en Estados Unidos. En El Salvador fui maestro, pero aquí hago otra cosa como cualquier otra para sobrevivir. Me pareció interesante cuando vi este proyecto de empoderar a la comunidad nuestra buscando ocupar cargos políticos. Creo que es la primera iniciativa de mis 40 años, casi 40 años de estar acá, que veo una iniciativa de esta manera. Entonces me involucré porque es bueno aprender y creo que es bueno empoderar a los muchachos, a los salvadoreños americanos, a que se involucren en la política interna de su país. Nosotros los viejos no somos realmente americanos, somos refugiados. Entonces creo que el proyecto es interesante y en estas 5 reuniones que hemos tenido creo que he aprendido bastante. Muchas gracias.
Buenas noches, me llamo Miriam Tai Sorto
He vivido acá en Hempstead desde 1977, and I have known Mayor Hall since he became the mayor from Hempstead. I know you were a very, very, very wonderful mayor, and I would like you back to be the mayor of our mayor. Yes.
Good idea.
Yeah, because he loves our community, but I would like to not to, when you refer to the Salvadorian community, I think you left the other community out. I rather prefer what we call Latino, because in that manner we can have more from different countries without having the name of Salvadorian. I am Salvadorian too, but I call myself Latino too, because it's different from Hispanic, because we didn't born in Spain, we born in Latin America. And I've been working in the Hempstead High School school district since 1997. I'm a teacher, but I'm retired now. And I also working at the Uniondale High School. But I like Hempstead. I never feel discriminating in Hempstead, mostly when Mayor Hall was our mayor.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Francisco Manrique. Para los que no me conocen, no soy salvadoreño, pero quiero mucho a la comunidad salvadoreña. Soy de Perú y estoy acompañando a esta iniciativa que, como bien lo dijo el colega Cermeño, es una experiencia que se puede transportar a cualquier otra comunidad, y creo que en ese sentido venimos a sumar. Yo les agradezco esta exposición y estoy siempre con la comunidad también. Bueno,
Gracias.
Buenas noches, un placer estar aquí y felicitar a todos que están presentes, y saludo al alcalde, él entiende español. Bueno, soy uno de los que también tengo mucho tiempo ya de estar aquí, en 1976, y siempre tengo un amor por la villa de Hempstead, porque realmente ha sido para mí una de las ciudades, el pueblo que le dio esa cabida a nuestra comunidad salvadoreña centroamericana en los tiempos más difíciles, y hemos compartido todos momentos difíciles también de la villa en su aspecto social, y hemos visto también su desarrollo, y siempre estamos satisfechos a pesar de todas las situaciones. Lastimosamente, digo así lastimosamente, que nuestras nuevas generaciones no tomen interés, ¿verdad?, en todo este proyecto, ya que es necesario para aquellas próximas generaciones de hispanas, salvadoreñas, centroamericanas. Y ustedes saben de que yo siempre digo que nosotros sembramos el asta de la bandera aquí en este pueblo, y siempre alguien de otro o ha vivido aquí y se va para otro lugar, otro pueblo, siempre tiene que venir a Hempstead. Y eso esperamos que la nueva generación tome interés en este proyecto, y para continuar y darle vida a esa próxima generación.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Andrés Saldívar. La verdad que estamos en una comunidad diversa, ¿verdad? Yo les agradezco que personas pues, que no son salvadoreñas estén aquí presentes, ¿verdad? Y es bonito escuchar pues, lo que ustedes dicen, y como que se ve que es tiempo de cosecha, ¿verdad? Nosotros siempre como comunidad salvadoreña venimos apoyando desde el Mayor Gardner, ¿verdad? You remember Mayor Gardner, ¿verdad? Nice guy too, ¿verdad? Like Mr. Wayne. Pero ahí se ha quedado todo, ¿verdad? Nunca hemos tenido alguien que lo represente, ¿verdad? Que es el motivo por el que estamos acá, ¿verdad? A mí me llama la atención mucho esta villa de gente, ¿verdad? Actualmente pues están desapareciendo las niñas. 14 años, 13 años, y cada 15 días. Eso es de bien, ¿verdad? Mr. Wayne, the girl disappeared, they're missing, esto es muchas cosas que están pasando acá, y nadie toma, no, la policía pues no hace nada, ¿verdad? Y es de preocuparse todo eso, ¿verdad? Y como dije, bueno, a lo mejor desaparece un hispano más, mejor para nosotros, menos problemas, menos dolor de cabeza, pero es de ponerle atención a lo que está sucediendo acá, ¿verdad? Y creo que ahora es el tiempo en que sí podemos hacer un buen cambio, ¿verdad? Podemos apoyar, creo que ya tenemos más conciencia representativa, ¿verdad? Porque es lo que nos falta, no nos gusta involucrarnos en la política, ¿verdad? Pero lo que sí yo he captado de que sin política no podemos vivir, la verdad. Es como que nosotros los salvadoreños queramos vivir sin tortilla, bueno, comer o pupusa, ¿verdad? Entonces yo comparo eso de que necesitamos ya salir, ¿verdad? Me comentaba don Emilio, ¿verdad? Me dice, le echamos ganas. Yo creo que el salvadoreño siempre tiene eso de que le echa ganas a los proyectos, ¿verdad? A los proyectos que son positivos, y creo que es el proyecto más positivo que yo he encontrado hasta ahora aquí en la comunidad de gente, ¿verdad? Porque anteriormente pues no se ha llevado nada a cabo, ¿verdad? Concretamente, pero sí ahora creo que le vamos a echar ganas y gracias pues que estamos, como dicen, ese gigante dormido de todas las nacionalidades aquí, ¿verdad? Presente aquí en este local, estamos saliendo ya con más deseo de tener un representante latino, ¿verdad? El que sea bienvenido, yo creo que los va a favorecer siempre, ¿verdad? Ya hemos hablado de que los va a favorecer el hecho de que uno pueda entrar a la oficina del mayor de aquí, de gente, y decirle nuestras inquietudes, que son muchas, ¿verdad? Estamos siendo afectados por la política que hay, la división que hay entre, así lo dijo el Newsday, ¿verdad? La división entre lo que es la alcaldía y el Board de Education, ¿ya? Que es algo que no le conviene a ninguna comunidad que estén peleadas. Y por eso sucede que cuando desaparece un niño, nadie quiere hacerse responsable. La policía lo que hace es poner afiche que se desapareció, pero hasta ahí termina. Nadie va a hacer una campaña en frente del mayor y decirle, mire, pues tomen acción, tomen en consideración todo eso que está pasando, pónganse de acuerdo con el Board de Education para que haga algo, porque me imagino que estos muchachos están en la escuela. Me imagino yo que si vienen aquí están todavía en la escuela, pero no se hace nada por averiguar quién se los robó. Bueno, hay mucho trabajo. Muchas gracias por la presentación.
You have a good point about the board meetings, that when you go to the board meeting, you don't see your community in there. So what I think, you have a group of people here tonight that are concerned about what's going on. So the village board meets the first and the third Tuesday of every month, and sometimes they have a special meet and call. But you should go there and listen to what's going on, because if you don't know by now, the mayor is trying to make the village a city, and that has pros and it has cons. And ever since Jim Garner was here, he had desire to make Hempstead a city. When I was there, I had desire to make Hempstead a city. Don Ryan didn't want to do anything, and he didn't. And so now you got the new mayor, and so they have meetings, they have public hearings about changing Hempstead to a city, and and they have to publicize when these meetings are. So like I said, you have a good idea, but Emilio, you should get this committee to go see what's going on over there. So to say all of that, it's getting kind of late to choose a candidate. The weather is starting to get cold. As I said before, you have to get somebody that's willing to work hard. You have to get somebody to get name recognition. and you have to do a different type of campaigning. For instance, this last campaign for trustee was a special election because the mayor was elected last year. He gave up his seat, he appointed somebody, and that means that that person had to run again. So they kicked her off the ballot and got somebody else that works for the school district, and the campaign went on. Everybody declared that they want to run in January. The candidate that won was backed by the Democratic Party, and he was the one that had the backing. They had the money, they had the strategy to run the election. The other 3 or 4 people that ran had no money. So one of the guys was asking me to send him $60 here and there. So what I'm just saying is, I told you before, back in August or July when we first started this, that you need to get a candidate, and that candidate needs to be coming up no later than the end of this month. Because you want to get that candidate to raise money, you got to get a campaign plan, you got to get name recognition. And the way that you get the name recognition is to start going out, knocking on the doors. That way you say, oh, I'm going to introduce myself, I'm so-and-so, I'm going to run for village trustee, and do you have any concerns about what's going on in the village? You write it down. You got to go from one side of the village to this side of the village to that side of the village, and it takes a lot of work. See, when I ran for mayor, I took 7 weeks off of my job. And as I said before, I was out like 12 o'clock every day. I didn't get back home until 9 o'clock. In the snow, the rain, I was still out there walking. In the rain, I would go into the buildings. The snow was too high, I would go into the buildings. But I was out there. And that's the only way you're going to be able to win. Don't come up with a candidate in January, because that's not going to work. It's not going to work. And then, as I said before, if you get a candidate, you want that candidate to run with somebody. So form a coalition, Afro-Latino coalition. That way you can draw votes from both sides of the community, the Hispanic and the African-American community. And you got to be able to have a campaign manager that knows how to make a plan, execute the plan, do all the things that need to be done. You have to have a budget. I'll give you a sample page of a budget that I'll leave it with you, Amelia, if I can find it. I'll find it before I go. You have to know how to target voters. You got to know how to do opposition research. You got to do a whole lot of looking on the internet at these board meetings that they have. Who shows up, who introduces the bill, who's in opposition of, contrary to what you guys believe. There's a lot of work to be done. So I suggested the end of the month. Now, here's what I have to say, that this is probably my last meeting with you guys. I have to have heart surgery in 2 weeks, on the 20th. So I don't know how long my rehab is going to be. According to the doctor, it might be about 2 weeks or whatever, but I don't know. So I need you to find somebody that's willing to run. And then we have to talk about the school board. The strategy with the school board is all wrong, because the school board is a race that they don't get paid. So and the turnout of the school board election is so low. It's really a low turnout. I'm not sure, Maribel, when you were on the board, how many of the Hispanic came out to the board meetings? Can you tell us how many came to your board meeting?
Very few.
Very few, and the majority of the kids that go to the school district Latino. So there should be some representation on that board too. So even though that election is going to be in May, 2 months after the village election, you should be trying to find somebody to run for that too. The goal is, by the time all of this stuff come up, when the campaign, the petition, and all of these things come up, you want to have some kind of money, because you have to be able to send some stuff out. You know, you can't just hand it, you know, I'm gonna deliver it to a door, I'm gonna knock on the door. You send it out by mail. And then, you know, and some people don't like to, what they call nasty campaigning, you know, when, like what's going on with that guy, Herschel Walker, you know, about, they found out about him and this girl and whatever. So that's came out about him. But you also got to find out what these guys are doing on the board, what they're not doing on the board, if they're ever showing up on the board, and that's what you call opposition research. So you got to do a whole lot. And as I said, time is running out, and by the end of the month, you need to have somebody. Now, I was also thinking, because I see that there's a opposition group that's popped up, that's going to have a meeting on the 19th of October. I don't know if it's an opposition group, but I know that they're also going to be talking about running candidates for office. So
That's a new group.
it's going to be at Evergreen School. It's them, I don't know the other groups, you know the groups? I think your group is going to be there, part of it too.
Yeah, go ahead. I transferred that.
Okay, and so they're going to be out there also trying, I don't know if they're looking to run a candidate in March, looking to run a board person, but I believe that some of them looking to run for mayor, and maybe they're going to skip this and they're just going to run right into run for mayor. So I don't want to be part of a conflict, because I feel that they're going to say, well, why is me sitting down here choosing the candidate from the Hispanic community? I don't know if, you know, they might resent the fact that I'm on the board choosing a candidate for the Latino community. So I don't know how that will work.
Let us find the candidate first,
Yes.
then we talk about that.
Okay.
And get healthy of your heart, then we talk.
So, but really, we need to have this candidate out there. So he needs to raise money. He needs to, yeah. And what you do is, I got the races from 2011. So I know all the districts here, who voted for whom. In this district, how many voted for the Republican, how many voted for the Democrat, how many voted for the independent candidate. So I got a whole history of all the races from 2011 back. That's when you're doing the research, trying to figure out how to target areas. You don't target everybody that lives in the village. This is like 35,000 people that are registered to vote in the village. I don't know how many Latino are on that list, but because a person has a Spanish short name, it doesn't mean that they really are Spanish. You know, so that's, so you need to really get this going. And this is a sample budget for you. These are all the things that you need to do to figure out. You need campaign manager, you need somebody but to finance. You need volunteers. If you're going to rent a place or like a headquarters, you need to figure out the rent for that. You got to pay for the utilities. Yeah, I don't know, you may need some chairs in there. And then the outreach comes in when you have to go get signs put up, the big signs, yard signs, and events, whole fundraisers and so forth. And then you have to print stuff. Now that's a lot of money. Those printing those signs, sending out mailings to people. You don't, like I said, you can't send it out to 35,000 people because you won't have the money to do that. So how we do it is we look at the people that we call prime voters. And when you get this list from the Board of Election, they show you the people that come out year after year and just vote for special elections, presidential elections, off election, and so forth. Those are people that you know that are going to vote. So those are prime voters. So I'll hold on to this because you're not ready for this yet. But the budget, trying to raise the money to run the campaign, trying to find the right candidate, trying to get the recognition. I think that the strategy for the school board and the trustees should be the same. Just because the school board is a lower turnout, I think we could increase the people to come out if you start earlier than like in March most of the time. I think they start with petitions in March. Yeah, okay, they start in March. If we find two candidates, school board candidate and a trustee candidate, and then we hook up with a person that wants to run on the Afro-American side for trustee, because those two are always on the same line. You know, they've named it party, and then when they get drawings, I believe they're on the same line. But with the school board, each candidate is on a different line, even though they may run under the same banner, but they all get different lines. Now, so that's basically what it is. We get the candidate, then we can start doing what we need to do. But the thing is, you gotta start, even though you don't have a candidate yet. The meeting, the third Tuesday, I think they meet at 6:30. Get a group of people and go see what's going on. Just blend it in with the community. And as you do that, then you will notice that it's going to become, you know, you may attract more people to come out. And that's the goal, to the community to come out, listen to what's going on, and decide, well, you know what, you want some input with the trustees. You want to tell them, you know, what you want in your community. Right now, when I was the mayor, I had that young lady, when I first got elected, she was from Ecuador. Then I had, I think 1 or 2 years, what happened was we lost the election, and so I didn't have a Hispanic person on, got Don Ryan. And then on 2009, we ran with someone, he's from Puerto Rico. And then in 2013, we ran again with, I guess all of you all know, Lou Figueroa. So like I said, I'm, you know, here to help you get started on that. And I think that you have a good shot, you know, to go out there and just, you know, get the experience, how, you know, running a campaign, and then win or lose, you're going to learn from that. And you're going to continue to just, you know, you're not going to be disappointed if you lose. You say, okay, well, hell, we just started. You know, now, because the first time I ran was in 1997. I didn't know what I was doing. I was out there walking, dropping stuff off. And we ran against Jim Garner, and they beat us. So I said to myself, you know what? I said, I'm better than this. I know I can do better than this. So 2 years later, I ran again. I had an idea of what I did wrong, and now what I'm doing right. And we won. I had a campaign manager. I used to get angry with him. I would come back into the headquarters, and he said, what you doing back? So I would have knocked on 30 doors already. He said, you gotta go back out. Nah, I ain't going back out. And I went back out. That's what the difference was. Because when we did it in 1997, all I did was carry some flyer and put it in the gate. I didn't have the constituent candidate, relationship. I didn't, Yeah, I didn't have that, hey, can you vote for me? Shake your hand. What's the problem? We didn't do that in 97, but we did that and we did that in 99, and we won. And we won again in 2003. And then when I ran for mayor, I won because I had a really good idea what I was going to do.
You were mayor?
I was the mayor 3 times in a row.
And 2 times trustee?
Yeah. So I was on
2 and 3.
Yeah, I was on the board for 18 years.
So you were before the trustees, right after you won too?
Yeah, I was 6 years a trustee, 12 years the mayor. And the last time I ran, my party turned against me. But they sent out this survey that I was too sick to be the mayor, and I had just had a kidney transplant. And so I was, out and out for about 2-3 months. I couldn't walk. And they sent out a survey to everybody in the village saying that, being the mayor is stressful and Mayor Hall is too sick or whatever they said. And even my opponent that ran against me called me up and said, Wayne, what the hell's going on with your party? So they were, they didn't help. And actually I didn't work as hard as I did the first time. Well, now I'm 12 years older, I'm in my 70s now.
What was the key that they trusted you in order to compete in the second time? Because most of the times when you lose the first one, so you are a loser, so they take you out, they set you apart.
Not really, because, I knew that I did something, I wasn't sure what I was doing the first time. And the second time, when I ran, they tried to tell me, no, you're not going to be the candidate. But I said to them, I'm going to be the candidate. If you don't pick me, I'm going to run any doggone way. So I had one of the legislators from the county, I don't know if you remember Roger Corbin, he came in and he negotiated, and so we ended up with Hezekiah Brown, who lived down the street from you, Hezekiah Brown. He lived down the street from where you live. He lived on the corner of Flower, and he negotiated, and I was a candidate, and I was out there. I was in my 50s at that time. I was in pretty good shape, and so I won. And I didn't lose until 2017. So I had from, what's that, 1999, that's 18 years. So, but as I said, we need to get started with a candidate. And seriously, we want to have a candidate, we want to have candidates for this trustee race so we can get the experience. Okay, we can gauge what the community, how they're going to accept a candidate, a Latino candidate running in the village. We want to find that out. And if we don't win, we go back to the drawing board. What did we do wrong? And what can we do better? And that's what we do. Same with the school board. The school board got to have a better strategy than coming out in March. Of course, we want to raise money. I don't know how much candidates raise on the school board, but they probably don't raise that much money. But to run a real decent campaign, I think if they raise $10,000 to $15,000, I don't think they candidates that ever raise that amount of money. Because, like I said, you don't get paid, so you don't really put that much effort into it.
Okay, an applause for Mr. Mayor. It's a lot to do, and we're still waiting for and looking for the right candidate. In the next probably week, you're gonna get information about if we have it or not. Because we're probably gonna either have it or let you know, then we're gonna get it prepared for the board school candidate.
No. You're gonna have it.
We gotta have it, right? Okay, good. Good. That's the idea. So, I don't know what to tell you. We feel like we have reached the point that we need more resumes. We don't have that many.
Well,
Please.
can we look at the resumes you have?
Yes, we wanna. There are not that many, but we'll pass it along to the people that we already spoke about it. And don't worry about if you select and help us to screen and the people, because the way how we want to screening is to help them out. That's the only reason. It's not ethnicity involved on that.
Well, because sometimes the resume does not reflect. Sometimes the resume does not reflect that person's character. You know, you can look at a resume and not really tell what a person does unless you bring him in and talk to him or talk to her and find out what they want to do. The resume, some people don't write good resumes at all. You know, they have to go to a professional to get their resume. And if they're going to write that themselves, there's some things that they put in there that might not seem like it qualifies them. But if you talk to a person and you can tell by just talking to them sometimes what kind of character that person is, and if he's willing to do the work. So that's why when you say you didn't have that many candidates, there's not that many resumes, let us see the resumes. Then we can say, hey, let's bring this guy in, let's bring him in now to talk to them before the end of the month. We might be able to find that one person that we want. And we can groom him, with all you guys. I'm sure you know people that might be willing to invest in the candidate, start raising money and doing certain things. So the key is to get him out there into the, because it's getting cold. And people are not going to want to, after December, by the time it gets down in the 30s, and people are not going to want to go out, and if it starts snowing, then you got a problem. So I said, let's look at the resumes, and by the end of the month, we'll have somebody.
And we would like to know what the strategies to follow. What do you think? What the strategies should we take in order to raise money? Because that's a big shot. That's the big dollar.
So when you raise money, a lot of people know have relatives. People have relatives. They have friends. They can get some kind of person that can help them fundraise. And I'm sure in the community, if you get a good candidate, he can go around to the businesses, because I'm sure the businesses, like you said, is over 60%, maybe more than that are owned by Latino. And they would want to see someone on the village board that they can communicate with. That was the purpose of having someone of Hispanic origin, when I was a mayor, so they can reach out to the community. Even though Lou and Rosario were from, part of America, Puerto Rico, they still were part of the Hispanic communities, and they could converse with you. They would trust him more than they would trust me, because he can speak Spanish and I can't. So the money part, we can always come up with a strategy, But the main thing is to get that candidate and start him, and you'd be surprised how much money you can raise. You know, you can raise a lot of money.
Can I say something about the money? When I was a candidate, they sent me to a training to the Working Family Parties. So they give you a lot of tips and a lot of ideas what you can do. And one of the things that I never forget is they told me, you want money to run the campaign, you need to ask. The only reason why people give you money is because you ask for the money. If you don't ask, they are not going to give you money. But you go and tell them, I'm running for this position and I really need money, could you please help me? And even if they give you $5, another one is going to give you $100, all of them count. And my first experience knocking on doors on my neighborhood, my block, the lady, I just went to ask her to sign the petition. I was collecting petitions, and many of those soldiers because she was one of my soldiers. I always remember that lady. I went with my son, he was about 7, 8 years old. And she signed my petition, and she told me herself, don't you need a donation? I said, sure, of course, if you want to give me. She went and got a checkbook and wrote a check and gave it to my son. My son got home, opened the envelope, and she said, hey, Mommy, she gave you $100. I said, wow, this works. So even if I didn't ask, she was so interested on this, she gave me her own $100. But the main thing to raise the money, we need to ask. I was on all these bars and all these delis asking for money. The bars, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, I was there with somebody asking for money. And all of them, they were writing checks for $100, $50.
How much did you raise?
Probably about $10,000.
Yo solo quería agregar algo, especialmente todo lo que ella hizo para recaudar ese dinero. Este año he estado en 3 fiestas entre Brooklyn y Nueva Jersey, donde eligen candidatas a reina por votos, y ahí se manejan 25,000 solo porque el papá o los amigos quieren que ella sea reina. O sea, para algo tan importante como tener un puesto, un puesto en el gobierno, ya sea gobierno local o estatal, lo que sea, la gente dona 100. Pero para que su niña o su no sé qué sea reina, 10, 15 mil dólares.
Vamos a tomar eso.
Sí, se puede, ¿verdad?
Excelente. Bueno, estoy seguro que vamos a reunirnos a más tardar en un mes, sería lo más tarde, pero antes de eso creo que vamos a tomar como movimiento la posibilidad de recaudar fondos para tener, porque Soy Departamento 15 tiene 0. Todavía no tenemos dinero porque somos una non-profit, pero bueno, eso es una reunión, un tema financiero para otra reunión. Así es de que por hoy, como el tema era cómo correr una campaña para ser trustee o concejal y ganarla, hemos tenido la participación del ex alcalde y creo que tenemos una idea. Pero sí creo que dentro de 15 días o a más tardar un mes, tenemos que reunirnos ya para comenzar a buscar dinero y hacer lo que está diciendo Héctor Cermeño. ¿Cómo es posible que para tener una reina, que es todo válido, pero no tenemos, todavía no lo hemos hecho? O sea que no podemos decir que nuestra comunidad no colabora, no es eso el punto es que no lo hemos hecho. Estoy seguro que Nisla nos ayudará, el centro, ¿cómo se llama? Bueno, para terminar la reunión con el video, queremos agradecer la concurrencia a todos, esperando que van a escuchar más noticias de nosotros, el Movimiento 15. Así es de que el Departamento 15 estará convocando a más reuniones. Seguimos necesitando los resúmenes para saber quiénes son las personas que podemos considerarlas. Así es de que, Mayor, again, thank you very much.
Esta fue una presentación de Soy Departamento 15. Tribuna TV Inc. no aprueba ni desaprueba las ideas, productos ni servicios aquí mencionados.